Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Josh here, and today we're going to be adding paddle shifters to my Audi DTM wheel. So to start off, I'm just going to get the mounting hole pattern from the shifters that I designed for a previous project. We'll be going over in a different video how to design these completely from scratch, but for now I'm just going to be adding these pre-built ones into my wheel. So I'm just going to get the hole positioning here, and then I'm going to go in and create the spacer that I'm going to use to get the shifters at a correct distance which is comfortable to shift at. Then just going to create a rectangle around this and then extrude that out, making sure not to select the two holes that I created. I'm going to add another hole in the middle for the Ys from the limit switch to run through in future. I'm just going to save this, and then I'm going to bring it across into the steering wheel design, and I'm just going to place it into the correct position, which I think it will go in. This is more just doing it by eye about what I think is right at this stage. Nothing's finalised. The wheel will be prototyped before the final build anyway. So you can see here I'm just going to get a bit fiddly and precise with where I want it to go. Obviously bearing in mind that the 12mm buttons are going to have nuts which I need to allow space for. I'm going to insert the shifters now. As I said, these are pre-made, and I'm just going to align these with the holes I've made, and as you'll see in just a second, I've actually made a mistake on the spacer. For some reason I have to realign the spacer here. I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah, you'll see as soon as I assemble the shifter with the spacer. Yeah, for some reason it was out of alignment here, which I was a bit confused about at first, but I quickly realised why that was. Just thought I'd leave that in here to show that, you know, no one's CAD is perfect. We all make mistakes along the way, especially when trying to do things quickly, work on other projects at the same time. So I actually have to make another edit after this one as well. As you can see, it's still a little bit out of alignment, and then I redo it again in a second. Yeah, so just double check the measurements again, because I think I must have measured it wrong or something along those lines. I'll actually create another sketch in a minute, and you'll see me create a line from centre to centre, and it just proves that my measurements were correct. It was just that I did the sketch incorrectly, as we'll see in just a moment. So you can see here the 14mm on the left hand side hole isn't actually to the centre, which I thought it was, which makes it a few centimetres out. So I just redo that again here. See, as it was at 15, which is what was causing the misalignment. So I then save the new versions of everything and then update it in my main wheel. And as you can see here, that the holes are now aligned, but the shifter just needs to be brought forward a bit more. So I just do that here, and then I reconstruct it just to get that into the right position, and this time I select the bottom circle and then align it here, as those are the mating points. As you can see here, it lines perfectly. The next thing I'm going to do here is just mirror these two parts across. This will make it easier to edit later on in the design process, as I just need to edit one half and it will mirror it across automatically. And save this and add a little note about what I changed on this version. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the mounting holes to mount this onto the front plate. I was going to go with 2 holes, as you see here, and then I changed my mind and I actually go with 4. I'm actually going to be using threaded inserts, as these spaces are going to be 3D printed. So I'll make the hole 5mm, which is the width of the threaded inserts, and I'm just going to add 4 of these and mirror them across. And I'm just going to mirror this across to create the 4 holes. And I'm going to extrude this inwards, distance of 4mm. I believe I might come back and change this later, but I will get to that when I do that on the CAD. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the measurements for the cutout for the lever switch, as I'm going to create another cutout in the shifter space there, just to allow a bit of a gap for the pins which you solder the wires onto. I'm just jotting down the measurements on a notepad here, and then I'm going to go in and create the rectangle with those measurements. And extrude this in about 3mm, I believe, and then that is good for that. Then save this. I didn't add notes, which is bad practice. I should always add notes when you save. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the holes on the front of the wheels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the front plate firstly here, so I know what that is, and then I'm going to project the 4 mounting holes onto the current sketch plane, which is a very, very useful tool if you haven't used that previously before. I'm going to create these circles here. That now occurs to me in editing that I made these circles too big. I made them at 5mm when they should be 3mm, so I will change that before the next episode. Maybe not the next episode because that's already been recorded, but the episode after that I will amend those changes. And I'm just going to extrude these holes through the front plate now. And see the distance is at 7mm, and I only have M3x10, so I'm actually going to extend the extrusion in here so that I can use the M3x10mm screws. I'm going to edit the depth of this so that obviously it doesn't have the holes running all the way through. I'm going to change these holes to 5mm holes, as they are for the threaded inserts as well. I've just changed those, and I'm just going to update the versions on the main assembly here. I'm going to insert the hardware in that I want here, so I'm going to get the M3x10. I'm just going to insert them into all of the holes here, so I'm just going to assemble as you see me doing here, and you can see again that the holes are too big, but that will be amended. I'm just going to copy this across to all 3 of those holes on that side, and I'll mirror those across to the other 4. Now I'm just going to mirror this across to the other side, so I'll select all of the bolts and mirror using the same old plane that I used before, and there you have it. Now I'm going to add in the hardware to mount the shifters onto the spacers. So for this I'm going to use M3 by 5mm bolts, so I'm just going to go and create these quickly. Yes, I'm just going to open up the M3 by 10 and then just change the length to make it M3 by 5. So as you can see here, I'm just going in and I'm going to edit the length from 10mm to 5mm, then I'm going to save this as a new part, and I'm going to insert this into the main design and assemble it with the holes that we made earlier. So I'm now going to assemble the hardware, so I'm just going to rotate this around, insert it onto the uppermost hole on the left shifter, and then I'll just copy that into the one below and then mirror that across so it's identical. So I'm just going to create a copy and slide it down into position, and then I will select these 2 panhead bolts and mirror that across, and then that will be it, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video. If you like my videos, feel free to subscribe down below so you don't miss out, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.